Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. And as you can tell by the title of this, it does involve a photographer threatening to sue me. Alright, so I briefly mentioned in my wedding tips and advice video how important it is to request the ability to have your engagement photos taken prior to signing any contracts or making any commitments to a particular photographer. And I find it to be so important because it is something that I did, and I am so happy that I did. Like I have mentioned, photography was the most important part to our wedding day. That is what we are willing to spend a good amount of money on. We knew going into the planning of the wedding that photography was our number one. And so knowing that, we began our search. I came across this company. Their prices were really decent. And I talked with the two photographers of this company on the phone, and I had a nice experience. And then I looked at some of their work, and to be honest, I just wasn't overly impressed with their work. Not saying that their work wasn't good, it just wasn't really my style. But I did explain what I was looking for in engagement photos and wedding photos, and they seemed to understand what I was in search of. They guaranteed me that they were able to take those artistic photos that I had in mind. And so just in talking with them, I decided to give them a chance, but I had this feeling, and I don't know how else to explain it other than it was just a weird, unsettling feeling that I got, and I just wasn't sure if these were the photographers for us. And so I just kept going back and forth. Like, their prices were really reasonable, and they did seem really nice on the phone, but I just couldn't shake this feeling. And I was just really scared that I would commit to something and the end result wouldn't be up to my expectations. And I don't mean to sound like picky or rude in saying that, but since photography was so important to me for that day, I just felt like I was afraid to commit to them, and I was afraid what the outcome would be if I committed to them. So after a lot of thinking about it, I requested that the engagement session be taken prior to me signing a contract or an agreement with them. And I briefly touched base on this in my wedding tips and advice video, but pretty much we had to pay $225, and that money would either go towards our wedding package, it would be applied to what we owed for the entire wedding if we decided that we wanted them to be our wedding photographers, or it would go towards the cost of the engagement photo session. Once I was told that this was our option, I felt really good about it because I wasn't committing myself to anything until I felt 100% comfortable. And so I just really was very happy that these photographers agreed to doing that. And I think that that's really important to make sure that your potential photographers are comfortable with that, because if they are confident in their work, I don't see why they would have a problem with how the money, your deposit, gets applied. Going into the engagement photo session, I wanted to, number one, make sure that myself and Matt were able to work with them comfortably. So I just wanted to make sure our personalities, meshed well, and we could get along with them and they could get along with us. And then I also wanted to make sure that their quality of work was up to my expectations. And so we took our photos 1 year before our wedding. So we took them on May 7th, 2015, and I did that obviously on purpose to have some symbolic meaning behind those. And unfortunately, the day was just very awkward, is the best way I can describe it. Like, having your photos taken professionally in itself, that could be an awkward experience, especially if you're not used to having your photos taken professionally. Being directed to be all lovey-dovey with your soon-to-be spouse, with your fiance, in front of strangers is just weird. It's kind of scary and just feels really unnatural. So we kind of walked away from that photo session feeling just not sure about how the photos were going to turn out. And we were trying to imagine these two photographers the day of our wedding, at the day of our wedding, and we just couldn't imagine them there. We couldn't imagine them being with us that entire day. Matt and I have a really fun and crazy group of friends. No one in our bridal party is too serious or can be taken too seriously. And it was just, we felt like the personalities of those photographers would not mesh well with ourselves and our bridal party. We just couldn't imagine them like the morning of getting ready and, you know, just being ourselves. So that was an issue for me leaving that photo shoot. And I didn't really know what to do because they seemed like really nice people. So I just told myself that I'm going to wait to see the quality of their work and then make my decision from there. And so a couple weeks passed and we finally received our engagement photos. And to be honest, I just wasn't really impressed. And it was really unfortunate. Matt even, he's not as picky as me by any means. But he even said, like, we just didn't see anything that like a normal camera couldn't do and regular, you know, people couldn't take. I have a Canon T3i and I'm always using that for family photos, and I'm able to give that camera to, you know, my aunt or my uncle or a friend of mine, and they are able to take quality photos with that camera. So Matt and I are very used to having really nice photos come out, and not that our engagement photos weren't nice, but they were kind of at the same level that we are used to taking. And so we just didn't see anything that was like, wow, like we didn't get that wow factor with these photos. And there were things that I had asked them to do with these photos. Like I wanted some really strong sun rays coming down in a few of them. And I wanted some like really different, unique photos, and I just didn't get any of those. And so I'll insert a few of them right here. I'll insert like our top 3 favorites. And so as you can see, they are nice pictures. They're really nice, but they're not much more than nice. There was no creativity, I would say, in those photos. And some of the photos I actually had to like direct because I didn't feel like we were on track to getting the look that I wanted. So I was just like, okay, let's go over here. Let's go by this tree and let's go over here. Like it wasn't something that I kind of felt like I was having to be creative as I could possibly be without much notice that I was going to have to be creative. I was thinking that this was going to be something that we would receive from those photographers. So it was just all around not a good experience, and it was definitely not something that I wanted to include in the wedding. So after a lot of thought as to how I was going to tell these photographers, because I didn't want to come off rude or mean, it took me a while to figure out how I was going to go about telling these people that we did not want to use them for our wedding. Unfortunately, I didn't want to hurt their feelings, but I knew what had to be done. So I sent them an email and just told them that this is not something that, you know, this is not something that's going to go further than those engagement photos. And unfortunately, they took it really, really, really harshly. I'm not sure why they took it so offensively, because obviously they knew that that was an option when agreeing that, you know, that money that we originally put down might not go to a wedding package and that we might not sign a contract with them and use them for our wedding. But they were just really shocked that we did not want to use them. And so in getting their response back, I was kind of upset because I just felt like, you know, I shouldn't have to explain myself as to why we didn't want to use them. And I felt like I was extremely nice and courteous in my original message to them, email to them, and for them to come at me so like abrasively, I was just thrown back and upset. And so I messaged them back and pretty much said that like their response has made me want to leave a review on, you know, popular wedding sites to warn other brides about their character and their personality. And I wasn't originally going to leave any negative reviews just because I felt bad. I'm not that type of a person and I mean, maybe I should be more active on my reviews because I count on them, or I counted on them a lot for my wedding, and I would want any bride to, if they had a bad experience, to be honest and let other brides know their experience. But I wasn't going to do that originally until I got the reply to me. So I explained that I will now be leaving a review, my honest review about my experience, and just, you know, let brides know what to expect from these photographers, their quality of work, their professionalism, their communication skills, just everything that had been building up that I was upset about. I let them know I was going to be leaving reviews. So I was told by those photographers that if I were to leave a negative review about them and their company, that they would sue me. And yes, I was shocked. I was 10 times more upset. And so I started looking up, you know, my options as to what I can say and what I can't say about a company and how people can possibly get sued for defamation of character in leaving a bad review. And all that I could find was that if you lie, if you fabricate any story into making a company or a person look bad, that is how you could get sued. And I know there's a lot more that goes into that. I do have an uncle that is a lawyer, and so of course I immediately went to him and let him read the conversation and just told him everything. And he said, don't worry about it. You know, say what you need to say. Don't get bullied into not saying something just because these guys are threatening me. And you know, it was childish because I responded to them, they responded to me. It was just, it kept going back and forth. And to me, you could really tell the professionalism in that company when they're able to just keep arguing with a, you know, client that they lost over and over and over. I left all of my reviews. They tried to have 2 of those reviews taken down, and I just had to send over like my email proofs showing, you know, the conversations prior to all of this conflict. And upon review, my negative reviews on the company were able to stay up on those sites. And so to make a long story short, we did not get sued, thankfully. I said what I felt like I needed to say. I made sure not to fabricate anything. I am so thankful that we did not end up getting stuck using these photographers on the day of our wedding. I just don't think the entire dynamic of that day would have been the same. Of course, it would have still been magical for Matt and I, but it just wouldn't have been so effortless to take those photos, all those photos. And so we ended up finding an amazing company, photography company, a husband and wife. The wife does the photography, the husband does the videography. Their package was amazing. They were more expensive, but we got so much more out of that. It of course included the engagement photos, it included the wedding photos. There was no time limit on the wedding day. They did our rehearsal dinner. They will be doing a after the wedding photo session, which is really awesome. It included the videography. They had drones there, which I will be uploading the wedding video footage as soon as I get it. And they just included so much more than what we would have originally gotten. Their personalities meshed with ours so well. They were able to have fun with us that day and joke around. We did not feel awkward. Or I will insert right now a few of our favorite photos from that engagement session. So these photos we took on October 18th, 2015, which is a year after Matt and I got engaged. So the first engagement photos were taken a year before the wedding, and then the second engagement photos were taken a year after the engagement. So I was really big on the dates of how everything worked out. We still do have to take our after the wedding photos, and I'm trying to decide when that should be done. I have 3 options. I wasn't really planning on this, but I guess we could use this as like a poll, and let me know what you guys think. So for the after the wedding photos, I have 3 dates in mind. The first one is September 23rd, which is a Friday. That day would have been my uncle's birthday, who passed away. So if you watched the wedding videos that I have posted on my channel, you would have seen that the wedding fell on my Oma's birthday. That was planned and, you know, done on purpose. And so I thought it would be really cool if we did our after the wedding photos on my uncle's birthday. And I was very, very close with my uncle, that uncle as well. And I thought that have the wedding fall on my Oma's birthday and the after the wedding photos fall on my uncle's birthday. My option number 2 is October 14th, which is the day that Matt and I started dating. That day will be our 7 years since we started dating. With that 7 years, I thought it was special because we got married on May 7th. And so I thought that, you know, getting the pictures taken on the day that we first became boyfriend and girlfriend 7 years later, with the number 7 meaning a lot to us, would be pretty awesome as well. Option number 3 is May 7th, 2017, which will be 1 year after our wedding, but I am really interested in seeing what you guys think, what date you guys think would be the most appropriate day in taking these photos. So let me know in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts on, you know, getting threatened to be sued for stating my opinion. And just don't let any company bully you into thinking you can't voice your opinion, your honest opinion, and be careful and be cautious about, you know, what companies you choose to work with. And if you have the option to see a company's work and work with them before committing to anything, and if you have a gut feeling about a company or something, trust your gut, and before committing, just make sure that you feel 100% comfortable in your heart, your stomach, whatever, with your choice. Just make sure you spend enough time before the wedding so that you don't run into problems at your wedding. That is my biggest piece of advice. I hope that you enjoyed this story time. If you enjoy these story times, let me know. I'm sure I can think of some other crazy experiences that I've gone through and share them with you. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please make sure to subscribe. Also, make sure to check the bottom description for all of my upcoming videos, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you guys again so much for your love and your support, and take care. Bye.